What's up, Gear Mortals? Trey Xavier here. Today we are going to attempt to write a Metallica song. It's kind of like saying, oh, make something that tastes like chicken, when everything already tastes like chicken. Because they're such a vastly influential band, a ton of the things that they do that were at one point original, sort of pioneering ideas that they either came up with or popularized are now everywhere because everyone imitated it. This video is very kindly sponsored by EMG Pickups and their Robert Trujillo Riptide bass pickup set, which I've installed into my bass, so that's what you're going to be hearing as I play bass throughout this video. ESP Guitars was also kind enough to send over a couple of axes for me to use during this video. Oh yes, oh yes. So the first thing that we need is what I like to call the Big Riff. It's the riff that people will say, oh, you know the riff from this song? It's gonna be that riff. I've spent a lot of time studying Metallica riffs, and there's a couple things that they do a lot. First of all, key of E a lot. They do a lot of this kind of thing. Go to a flat 2 and the tritone. So here's what I came up with for that. That's pretty Metallica-esque, right? In order to make it sound like it's supposed to sound, you gotta get the Hetfield palm mute. And there's like an area of like 1 centimeter on here where it's exactly right. Little slideys, and then like a little evil thing. I like that a lot. I'm pretty proud of that, if I'm being honest. And it's gonna be a lot of down picking and a lot of this kind of thing. It's kind of tough to come up with an original gallopy type of a rhythm because they've kind of all been done, most of them by Metallica, and then we're just gonna hammer that flat 5 again. All right, now we need some drums for that. So I'm gonna just record some drums as I go here, just as a placeholder. I'm going to have a real drummer play in the actual final product, but I like to play the grooves in loosey-goosey style to start, just to get an idea for where it's gonna go. So I'm gonna use my Alesis Strike multipad, which I love so much, and then in Superior Drummer 3, I'm using the Man of Sand preset, which is supposed to sound like the Black Album. I think it's pretty close. I want this song to represent as much of the Metallica catalog as I possibly can. Of course, I love old Metallica, but you know what? I love 90s Metallica too. And I don't care who knows it. The Black Album is incredible. Load and Reload are also filthy with bangers. So I was thinking maybe make the verse a little bit more 90s Metallica style and do sort of a variation on that riff for that, so it'd be something like this. This same thing I did before, but just played as chords. There's a move that Metallica does so often that I can't believe there isn't a passage in every music theory book where it's called the Metallica Key Change. And all you do is go up a whole step. And they've done this in everything from Enter Sandman to Master of Puppets, so we're gonna do that right now for sure. Check this out. And then to get us back to the riff, I'm gonna do something that's sort of like a variation on the little tritone thing that he does in Master of Puppets, but instead of a diminished sound, I'm gonna use an augmented one, which is also pretty evil sounding, which gives us this. So for the second verse, I'm going to do a variation that isn't so far away from what we've already got. I'm just going to build on what we already have and add a couple cool little things to it, like this. They loved these big, bendy, slidey pentatonic things. So you might be thinking, Trey, what about the intro? We blasted right past the intro. Well, let me tell you something about writing intros. Don't do it first. You never write the intro first. You don't know what you're introducing yet. How can you introduce a song that doesn't exist? One of the things that I credit Metallica for introducing into metal is the idea of these beautiful, clean, and acoustic passages. You'll hear them in a lot of intros, outros, and interludes in their music, and I think it really adds a completely different element that, at the time, didn't really exist in metal. So you better believe I'm gonna put one in this song. I'm obviously very proud of myself for that. And what's cool is that we can also use this for our intro, maybe some kind of slight variation on it. This part is based pretty much on the clean interlude from Master of Puppets, which is one of my very favorites. So to get from this clean part into the next thing, first I'm gonna do something that they do in Master of Puppets, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna take the same thing, that same clean part, and I'm just gonna play it palm muted and heavy like this. And then that'll go on top of some big, heavy, ringing out power chords while the drums are just railing on the toms thusly. From there, I want to do something in the style of one of the most, I would say, enigmatic and beautiful parts of any Metallica song, which is the part in 1 right before it goes into the sort of, I don't know, breakdown, I guess, the really heavy riff, you know, the biggity bam. At the part that I'm talking about, there's a ton going on. I'm pretty sure there are at least 3 guitars, and it's got this really cool layered counterpoint thing. So what we need next in the song is a monstrously heavy, super simple riff. And then to sing over something even simpler. I find that usually the coolest and evilest sounding things are just the simplest. And then we've got the outro, which is basically just gonna be the riff again, but I'm gonna throw in a little twist, a little proggy and Justice for All style twist. I don't know why I like that so much, but it's sick. Throwing in some kind of wild little twist like this can give it an exciting bit of chaos. If you listen to songs like Blackened or basically anything off of Justice, you're gonna hear this kind of stuff all over the place. So now it's time to play some lead guitar, and you know what that means. Oh yes! Oh yes! What would a Metallica song be without a bunch of wah in it? My friends over at Dunlop were kind enough to send over this KH95 Kirk Hammett signature crybaby, and it is awesome. So you better believe that I'm going to use this gratuitously. I really like the little in-between sprinklings of lead guitar with wah that they like to do sometimes. The thing to me that feels like the most signature Kirk Hammett type of a sound is the double stop, pentatonic, bluesy kind of thing, but really fast, tons of high gain, and of course with the wah, this kind of thing. And sometimes he just blows your mind with some huge arpeggio like the Master of Puppets one. I really like this idea of going back and forth between this really spicy kind of neoclassical, little bit circusy shit sometimes, and then just like straight up pentatonic, bluesy dad rock licks. One of my absolute favorite parts in any Metallica song, hands down, is the harmonized solo in 1. So coming out of the proper guitar solo, I'm going to attempt something that sounds like that, just super melodic, harmonized, awesome. Let's write the intro. I say write, but really what we're gonna do is make a variation of parts that we've already got in the song. That way we're foreshadowing things that are going to happen later on in the song so that when people hear it the second time, it's like, oh yeah, there's that part again, but now it's different. I really like the idea of starting at a much lower tempo and then ramping it up as we get into the sort of meat of the song. And I also want to have this huge sort of choir of harmonized guitars, just like in the intro to Battery. It's time to track some bass. I have now installed the EMG Rob Trujillo set into my Kiesel JBM5. It sounds thus. Pretty amazing what a little bit of bass does for the sound, right? Obviously right now I've got the bass really super loud just so that I can hear it, but it's starting to sound like a song. If you like this song, you might also like my band In Virtue. I'll put a link in the end card so you can check us out. And if you want to learn more about songwriting, I have a complete rock and metal songwriting course coming out very soon. I'm going to put a link in the description where you can sign up to get notified when it goes live. As I've been going, I've sort of been sketching out ideas of what I want the song to be about, and I've actually sort of been pushing some of the parts around in such a way that they will fit these lyric ideas that I have. For example, the ba-na-na, I had an idea that it would be the word prisoner, prisoner, along with that riff. Probably going to be calling this song Prisoner of Apathy. That's the title that I wrote down, and I sort of made it the hook. James Hetfield tends to write about very deeply personal things, and I'm going to attempt to do the same. I really don't think that it's narcissism to write a song about yourself, about things that you feel, about things that you care about, and I actually think it's the most cathartic and important way to write, so just embrace it. As I'm singing, I'm going to be attempting to do my very best James Hetfield impersonation.
Indecision is an ugly motherfucker. You always need to justify. You can never just be. The battle rages on inside. Prisoner of apathy. In a cage of lies. You're hypnotized of apathy. Now set your demons free.
So I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I think it is sufficiently Metallica-esque, but you're gonna have to decide for yourself when you listen to the final product right now.
to me.
Thanks so much for watching. Big thanks to EMG Pickups for sponsoring this video with the Rob Trujillo Riptide bass pickup set. Thanks to ESP who sent over a couple of amazing guitars for me to borrow for this. And thanks to Dunlop for sending over that amazing wah pedal. If you want to join my songwriting class, don't forget to sign up at the link in the description, and I'll see you real soon.